Secondly, وَيَقْطَعُونَ, and they cut. Qaf, ta, ain, qata'a. Qata'a is to cut something, to sever something. So they cut off. What do they cut off? Ma, that which amara Allahu, that Allah has commanded. Amara, from the root letters Hamza, Mim, Ra, or Alif, Mim, Ra. Have you heard of the word Amr? I told you, fi'l, Amr. And what does that mean? A command, an imperative. So they cut off what Allah has commanded, ma amara Allahu bihi, with it, and that yusala, it should be joined. Yusala is from the root letters waw, sad, lam. Wasala. And wasala is to join one thing with the other. To connect one thing with the other. Two things were separate. They were disconnected. You join them together. When you join them together, they have as though become one thing. For example, you have a sticker and you have a piece of paper. You put the sticker on the paper. Have you joined the two? Yes. Similarly, you have a rope and you have a box. You take the rope and you tie the box with it. You wrap it around the box. Have you joined the rope with the box? Yes, you have. This is what wasala is. So, in other words, they cut off what Allah has commanded, that it must be joined, that it must be connected together. What is it that Allah has commanded us? That we must join it, we must connect it together, we must not break it. First of all, ties of kinship, blood ties. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us that we must maintain our relationships with our relatives. That we cannot cut off from our relatives. For example, a brother says to his sister, I don't know you, get out of my life, I don't want to ever see you again. Because he's very upset because of what she did. So what happens then? They don't meet each other, they don't speak to one another, they don't go anywhere where the other is present. And when they get married, when they have their children, they don't tell their children about who their uncle is, who their aunt is. Children have no idea. This is what? Cutting off relationship with relatives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden us from doing that. The fasiqeen, what do? They break ties of kinship. They break the blood ties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Similarly, what else has Allah commanded us to join? When Allah gives us a command, any instruction, whether it is to pray or it is to be good to others, any command that Allah has given to us, is it that He has given it to us so that we ignore it or that we follow it? Why did Allah give us that command? So that we follow it. And following it means joining it, metaphorically. Not literally, but metaphorically. So, Allah has commanded that every instruction that He has given, we must abide by it, we must follow it. But those who disregard the commands of Allah, those who disobey Allah, what are they doing? Cutting what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded must be joined. In other words, they are disobedient to Allah. يَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَن يُوصَلْ. Third characteristic, وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and they create mischief in the earth. They create disorder, they spread corruption in the earth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Does Allah like fasad? No. Allah tells us explicitly in the Quran that He does not like fasad. So a person, when he does fasad, what is he doing? Fisq. He's getting out of the bounds that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set for him. Now the question is, what is fasad? Fasad is corruption, disorder. What are the two types of fasad? The first type of fasad is to create disorder in the earth itself, the physical earth. Like for example, pollution, destroying buildings, bombing places, killing people. This is what? Fasad fil ard. The other type of fasad is fasad fi ahlil ard, amongst the dwellers of the earth. Like for example, lying, cheating, backbiting. So, the fasiqeen, what do? They create fasad in the earth. And I told you earlier that fasad is done by disobeying Allah. Any act of disobedience, what is it? Fasad. It's going to lead to disorder. When you backbite someone, when you cheat someone, when an innocent person is killed. So وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, meaning they are busy disobeying Allah, causing disorder, havoc on earth, harming other people. No person is safe from them. What do we learn from the hadith? That al-Muslimu man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi وَيَدِهِ. The Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hands other Muslims are safe. But these people, what do? They harm other people. وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ.
الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون.